The premature and violent death of the chief of the defense forces, Mr. General Rawat, is a shock to everybody. He was, of course, a very robust, healthy person. And while the Prime Minister was pussyfooting about China, was not even taking their name, despite the Chinese having come into Indian territory, General Rawat was blunt, straightforward, said, more than Pakistan, China is our enemy number one. And also mentioned of the Chinese troops having come into Indian territory. It was his bluntness, frankness, and his record in the military as having fought right up in the front that gave him his reputation. Of course, many people don't like people who are frank and talk talk without inhibition, so to speak. And he did. And even in Galwan Valley, where the Chinese were administered a bashing, he took the decision on his own, for which he was pulled up actually very secretly. So for him to die in a military aircraft, for a helicopter, of course we bought it from the Russians, is an extraordinary event. Yes, it happens. It has happened recently in Taiwan, where their top military man died in a helicopter crash. But their Taiwanese are holding the view that it was sabotaged by China. Here at the moment, the government's insistences, it was because of bad weather. At least this is what is being put out. Today, Parliament, Mr. Rajnath came to Parliament, and not only I had a brief meeting with him, before the session started, but in the session he read out a statement that they have set up an inquiry. But given the widespread concern that how can this have happened to a helicopter which is being rated as a very super weapon, a super military aircraft, and happen in a routine travel of his for addressing a lecture. So there is a need, in my opinion, for having an inquiry which is where nobody can attribute any bias to it. And therefore, I have suggested, which the government spokesman seem to not like it, that a sitting judge of the Supreme Court should head this investigation. Of course, all the technicalities and so on would be handled by the military itself. But once you have a Supreme Court judge, then the question of it's being an inside job and a cover-up has been followed up. Those things will not happen. This country needs to know clearly, is this an accident or is this a sabotage which is done by internal forces or external forces or the two together? Because in India, we do have many of the big countries' representatives within our fold. I mean, they are in the country. We have got spies belonging to several countries. So every country has, but in our country, we are very much more flexible in dealing with these people. And so I think there could have been, because he was a hardliner, he had a vast experience. He was, for the first time, a commander-in-chief of the entire armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, etc. And so we need to get to the bottom of it. And therefore, I'm looking forward to the government agreeing to a Supreme Court judge to sit over the inquiry and come to a conclusion so that the country could have be satisfied that the correct result has come and nobody has rigged anything, and that transparency becomes the uppermost in the minds of the people, which a Supreme Court judge, as chairing it, would greatly reduce. I'm not saying that everybody has high opinion of Supreme Court judges, but I would say 95% of the Indians have faith in the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court judges. So therefore, I've argued this.